Thanks for tuning in. This is Tim Christensen, and hello Sunrise County, hello's Pottery by Chris Birch, and XM Sun T, Carrol DeVerno, and someone else I don't see your name. Hi everybody. This is coming to you on Instagram TV and Facebook Live, and it's the first reading of a book that we just published. It's by me, Tim Christensen, and Carrol Lange. And it's about a journey. It's ostensibly built around a journey that I took to Australia via container ship back in 2017. And it pretty quickly changes into more modern environmental philosophy. So anyway, without further ado, here's the book. Reflect, Adapt, Persevere by Tim Christensen and Carrol Lange. A story of the sea, animals, the environment, and us. First page is here. And I have to add here that the book layout was done by the very talented Michelle Miller. She made it really come alive. Originally, this book was 2 copies, and they were handmade, hand-printed, and hand-illustrated at Running with Scissors Studios in, kind of late 2018, early 2019. And that was for part of a show called In Response to Chaos that was hosted by Green Hut Gallery in Portland, Maine. That show ran in March and April of 2019, and then the manuscript sat. Carrol and I had always planned on publishing it, and it just turned out that now is the perfect time. So here we go. Reflect, Adapt, and Persevere by Tim Christensen and Carrol Lange. A story of the sea, animals, the environment, and us. Copyright 2019 by Tim Christensen and Carrol Lange. Book designed by Michelle Miller. All rights reserved. No part of this book may be used or reproduced in any manner whatsoever without written permission, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical articles and reviews. For more information, please email timchristensenporcelain@gmail.com or visit www.timchristensenporcelain.com. Preface. Reflect, Adapt, and Persevere is a continued exploration of ideas shared in my Pachacucha 2020 presentation, Art in the Holocene Extinction, given in 2016 through Waterville Creates and the Waterville Public Library, Business and Career Center in Waterville, Maine. Following my talk, I was invited to speak at the 9th Australian International Woodfiring Conference, Smoke on the Water, in Queensland, Australia. There, my presentation addressed the future of ceramics and my opinion that now, more than ever, the content we create as artists is more important than the function of our forms. Traveling such distance at great carbon cost required careful consideration and management of resources. I needed to justify my use of time, energy, and money, and choose to spend a month at sea, journeying from the United States to Australia via cargo ship. While economically more demanding, this option provided a unique opportunity to observe and record natural history data and permitted me access to places on the planet I would not otherwise have seen. This book is the culminating document, a record of my all-encompassing art project. Then there's a table of contents, a list of etchings. There are 30 some odd etchings. I made one every day that I was at sea, and these are the chapter headings. And this is the first one. Forward. As artists, how do we square consumption of our art form with the consumptive quality of our world problems? For me, making and firing 60 ceramic cups requires 6 gallons of propane. That cost is high, especially when creating something that the world doesn't really need. I think what the world needs is unfettered communication on every level and between every person. When that happens, it will no longer be possible to see ourselves as individuals. Moving forward, it will be imperative that we see ourselves as a global community, one that works in service as a whole, for the whole, not as individuals. Decision-making needs to be in the best interest of everyone in the community. This will be an easy leap once the bridges exist. First, we must make bridges to other species, then to our global community. This evolution is integral to the worldwide organism and represents, in my mind, the best possible outcome. I believe we accomplish this by making sure that at root, our work speaks clearly that there is real value in our content, and that we both address the problems as we understand them and foster a discussion about possible solutions. We cannot make for making's sake anymore. This is a luxury we cannot engage in. We must make with purpose, with direction, with confidence, and with the goal of communicating what our creativity tells us is a way forward for the world. The new cost-benefit analysis must be, for what I am consuming, how much effect can I have? How can I cut consumption while maximizing opportunities to achieve positive social outcomes, engage in constructive discourse, and affect real change? How can my work be part of the solution? What follows is a personal account of my attempt to approach my life and art with these questions in mind. May 24th, 2017. Off Delmarva, 40 miles offshore. One barn swallow at dusk, one cattle egret, one mosquito, 2 pods of bottlenose dolphins, gray with dappled sunlight on the water. Day 1. Always say yes. I awoke to the brown waters of the Delaware River and the sound of my cabin phone ringing. When I picked up the line, I heard the captain's gruff tone, "Come to bridge, please." Was I in trouble for something? Since boarding the night before in Philadelphia, I had hardly stepped out of my cabin suite. I didn't know the rules here, didn't know how to read the unfamiliar faces. Had no idea where anything was or where I had permission to go. I only knew I needed to be self-sufficient, and that covers a lot of territory. I was treading lightly, unsure of the limits. I'd find them as was my way, but I generally prefer to ease into things a bit more. As requested, I reported to the ship's bridge, where Captain waved me over to the spot where a seedy-looking fellow in a sports coat and a wide tie plus a life jacket was holding forth on shooting elk. He was one of many pilots I would meet on the trip, and just as much a character as the next. They were all full of stories, and each had their own style. I later imagined a conference of harbor pilots, and what a weird collection of egos that would be. The pilot handed his empty coffee cup to the captain, and with a flourish left in the attendance of 2 fawning crew members. I didn't know if they were part of our crews or part of our crew or the pilots. As soon as he departed, Captain took my arm and led me to the rail, where we soon watched the pilot, clinging to a rope ladder draped over the side of the ship, descend 2 stories and onto the deck of the pilot vessel below, which was pitching and lunging significantly in our bow wash. He stepped onto his craft at the exact moment our ship exited the muddy waters of the Delaware and entered the steely blue Atlantic. There's another etching. I will forever remember the smell of the ship, the competing scents of diesel fuel, buckwheat, and astringent cleaning products blended with the tin taste of anxiety on my tongue and rested in the back of my throat. I was here to be anxious, to be taken out of my comfort zones. I came aboard to discover, to see what I could make from a situation such as this. I sought an adventure without familiar features, where even my work, my expression through art would be new. I prepared to make plexiglass etchings every day, to spend half of my day observing the water, the sky, the sea life, the ship, and then the second half of each day etching the most compelling thing I'd seen. I'd never made etchings before, as my artistic medium is almost exclusively clay and porcelain. I'd never been to sea before, never been cloistered with men before, had no knowledge of Myanmar, Ukrainian, or Ethiopian cultures, nor had I spent time in these biomes. So everything I was about to observe and endeavor to understand was new. I was looking forward to the challenge of it, to the test of it. I also knew there was no turning back once I walked up that gangway. And anyway, why would I want to turn back? The whole point was to move fearlessly forward. Those words had helped me through other uncertain times, and they would serve me well on this trip as well. My only rule: say yes to everything. And that's the end of the first day. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I'm going to read May 25th and the attendant day 2. Please visit my website, timchristensenporcelain.com, where you can find a link to buy a signed copy of this, and I'll ship it right out to you. Thanks, and see you tomorrow.